Great. So today we're going to talk about the ear. And I've got some help today. I've got Cameron, who's 7 years old, and he's going to be asking some questions to make sure I do a good job. So the ear is composed of, well, first off, before we get to that, what's the job of the ear? What does it do?
It makes you hear.
Yeah, but what do you hear? Sound, right?
Yeah.
What's sound? How would you describe sound? Like, what is sound?
Noises.
Noises. That's good. Basically, think of sound as waves of pressure that are in the air. Like waves of pressure that go up and down. Okay? And these waves of pressure travel through the air. They can travel through water too. Can you hear underwater?
Uh-huh.
Like when you're in the pool? Yeah, of course. It can travel through water or air. And your ears convert these waves of pressure from the air into action potentials, which are brain signals. Okay? You don't have to worry about that. But the ear itself is composed out of three parts. The first part of the ear is the external ear. Okay? So if we draw this is like, your earlobe. And it kind of looks like that. Okay? And your earlobe then is connected to a tube. Alright? A tube that goes into your temporal bone through a canal in your skull, which is the external acoustic meatus. Now, okay, this part of the ear that's on the outside, this guy has a name. He is called the auricle. This auricle is composed out of elastic cartilage. See how it's all bendy? Okay, that's the only two places in your body that have elastic cartilage. The other place you have elastic cartilage is actually in your throat, your epiglottis that closes up your larynx when you swallow. Okay. Now, what do you think this guy does? What do you think your auricle does? What's its job?
Makes you hear.
It helps you hear. How do you think it helps you hear?
By making a vibration.
Actually, it doesn't make the vibration. That's a good guess, Cam. What it does is it funnels these vibrations, these pressure waves in the air. It funnels it into this tube, which is called the ear canal. Okay, it funnels it into that tube. So sound waves come in here, and they go into this tube. And then this auricle, your earlobe, funnels it in there. Now, your ear canal, how long do you think that is? Like, you can show me with your fingers. How long do you think it is? It's perfect. It's about 2.5
It's right this, Dad.
centimeters long.
That's right there.
You're exactly right, Tyler. It's that long, okay? And that's why you should never put anything sharp in your ear canal, because it's not that long, okay? And we'll talk about what's on the end of that, but you don't want to damage that stuff. What happens if you get water stuck in here?
You get an ear infection.
You do. An outer ear infection, also known as swimmer's ear. You ever had one of those?
Yes.
Is it fun? No. What happens? Have you ever had one, Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, it's bad. You get swimmer's ear, you get water stuck in this ear canal.
Daddy.
Yeah.
Daddy.
You gotta listen. You got water stuck in this ear canal. Bacteria start growing in that water, and that causes this tissue to get inflamed, and then you have a problem. Yes.
It grows like this.
Your ear canal is growing just like that. That's perfect. Did you know that if you're exposed to really cold temperatures, like if you spend a lot of time surfing in cold water, do you know what the bones do around your ear canal? They grow bigger because they want to protect all the important stuff on the inside of your ear, on the inner and middle ear. They grow, and so your ear canal actually starts to close in, right? Because those bones start growing. So your ear canal closes in. What do you think that causes?
Your ear to start really hurting.
What does cause your ear to hurt, because the water is now more easily trapped in this area, and you can't hear as well. Do you know that my ears are like 80% closed from all those years in California in the cold water? Yeah. In order to fix this, you know what they have to do? They have to take a chisel, a micro chisel, and hammer away at that bone. They have to like hammer it away. The doctor has to do that.
You do it.
I would definitely don't want to do it myself. It'd be,
Yeah, I don't mean that.
Do you want to do it?
No.
Alright, probably can do it. Anyways, so point there is This would increase the likelihood of infection because it closes off the ear canal and eventually will lead to deafness. Now, at the base of the ear canal, we have this little membrane made out of connective tissue, which is just like a glue. And this membrane, it's like a thin piece of the top of a drum. You know, like a drum when you're playing the drums. It's like a little sheet that covers it covers the ending of the ear canal. This guy is called the tympanic membrane.
What if the water goes all the way to this?
Well, it's a good question. This thing doesn't let the water pass through, right? It blocks the water. It doesn't. It's like a watertight seal.
Yeah.
However, if you jump off the high dive and you land wrong, when you hit the water, that pressure could cause that little membrane to rupture, and that would allow water to get past, and that would be very bad. That's when you rupture your eardrum. It hurts really bad, and you have to stay out of the water for a couple of weeks for this guy.
My eardrum has gotten blown out.
No, that happened. But you did have. We'll talk about a surgery that you did have, which is really interesting. That relates to this. Now, this part of the ear that includes the auricle and the ear canal, that's your outer ear. Mm-hmm. Now we're going to talk about the middle ear. Your middle ear is a little hole in your temporal bone. It's filled with air, and it contains 3 tiny little bones. The first bone is connected to the other side of the tympanic membrane. Another little bone is connected to him, and a third bone is connected to him right there. And it kind of looks like that. Okay. These guys have names. They're called the malleus, the incus, and the stapes. These are tiny little bones, okay?
Like this big?
Oh, they're like super small, like that big.
Microscopic?
Yeah, well, not microscopic, maybe like a millimeter or 2 wide, right? So these are all inside this second cavity of the ear. This is your middle ear. Let me label this guy. Middle ear. Do you think that's filled with water or air?
Water.
Air. Actually, yeah, it's filled with air. Okay, and this is what happens. Sounds come in, okay? And those sounds cause that tympanic membrane to beat back and forth at the same frequency and amplitude of those sounds coming in. So, when the tympanic membrane beats back and forth, it causes these bones to move back and forth, right? And so it transmits the sound from the air to the bones.
Mine's doing it right now.
It sure is. Now, if you hear a sound that's really loud, do you think that your tympanic membrane moves a little bit or a lot?
A lot.
A lot. And that's how the ear encodes loud sounds. It has a high amplitude of motion, the tympanic membrane.
And it also could make your eardrum blow out.
Well, if it's loud enough, I think it could, actually. But that's very unlikely. Typically, your eardrum gets blown out when you hit something. Like when you slam it onto water or something, jumping off a bridge or a high dive. Now, if the tympanic membrane hears something that's really soft, do you think it moves a little bit or a lot?
Little bit.
A little bit, just a little bit back and forth. If it hears a sound that's really high-pitched sound, like your brother, yeah, like that, how do you think the tympanic membrane moves? Back and forth
Fast.
Real quick, or like back and forth real slow?
Fast.
Yeah, that's right. So high-frequency sounds they look like this. They have a high frequency of back and forth motion of pressure waves, and they cause that tympanic membrane to move back and forth really quickly. Low frequency sounds, like ooh, like a deep voice, they have a low back and forth kind of frequency, and that causes the tympanic membrane to move back and forth really, really slowly. What if it's a low sound that's really loud? How's that membrane going to move?
It'll move slow.
It'll move slow, but back and forth, like really far.
Yeah.
You know? All right, cool. So, now look at this. Okay, this is important. See this little tube that extends out of the middle ear? This guy has a special name. He's called the auditory tube. He connects to your throat. Why would we want a tube that connects your ear to your throat?
Because you won't know what you're chewing or something.